First things first, introduction. This is Olivier Scherschel. Uh, he has done some work for us before, a couple of Wretched scenarios.
Literally a couple,
Yeah,
because there were
Yes,
two.
a
yeah.
couple, two, yes. And but recently, or exactly today, we published something else, Wretched Chanbara, which is a whole setting, and now Olivier is going to talk about it.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Sylvia, for the guest. I try to make clear the explanation. Red Chambara is a good opportunity you give to me to materialize a lore and a Japanese dark style of RPG I have in my mind since more 25 years now. At the origin, the system was completely different, and it was for simple, just basic like Chaosium, Call of Cthulhu, etc.
Mhm.
And when I read you for many months ago now, year even, your game and your system and your point of view about morality, etc. I think the collision between the lore and the system was a good idea. And Red Chambara is a game where you can play fully historical, just men versus men, lord versus lords, kingdoms versus kingdoms, or it's my sort of game. I add a bit of dark magic, necromancy, sexual magic, etc.
Let's start by that part
You
that you
can meet
said.
humans, monsters, yokai, demons, living dead, and more.
I'm going to interrupt you just a bit. When you were saying that when you saw our game and our rules and the way we have introduced the morality system, that you thought about that. And Chris, who is our editor, he also mentioned something about that because usually when you think about Japanese and samurai and all that, we think about honorable,
Oh no.
yeah, characters, and Wretched isn't usually like that. So it's what made you do that connection?
Simply, in the world, the world of Wel Shambara is ruled by 8 gods called kami, and there are only one good and 2 neutral. So the clash between the real estate Japanese setting with honor, lord, samurai, etc., with very collapses ideas and loss of hope and war everywhere and betrayal, etc., with the power of the kami linked totally to the souls of human. Yeah, for make simple, each man died in the world if he choose to adore a god, the soul go to their sphere, their sacred sphere, linked to the world by 8 pillars, and the pillars are breaking every day, every month, etc. So yeah, when you think Japanese, you think honor, but even in history, there are many corridors, intrigues, and betrayal, and parricide, etc., etc.
Mhm.
It's
So
this
it's not unmatchable a lot. All
this
contrary.
the story of someone, and that's why, because some people say, "Oh, Wretched, I want to play a bad guy," but the story of someone that actually is honorable or wants to be honorable, but falls from grace or is forced to do something, is confronted, right, and he has to do something that is not honorable because of circumstances. It's always more interesting than just playing. That dark side always makes things more interesting.
You can play several type of characters, and yes, the gray line is possible for all of them. And if you want to play a good one, you can. But if you're playing with characters of other obedience, the table will be complicated.
Mhm. Okay, so you said that you had thought about this setting about 30 years ago, right? 25 years ago. Um, how did this come by? How did this happen?
The
What
idea, the
the
first idea.
idea, the concept?
Very simple. I saw a few white and black movies of samurai stories called Jidai Geki, and I was traumatized by Ninja Scroll, a very old animation of 19. And I missed something who matched the both. So I tried to make a lore who I can find the old spirits of classic Japanese samurai movie and the modernity with metamorphoses, very gore frames, uh, even supernatural power by ninja or samurai, and they were the seeds of the first game. The
Um,
idea was starting here. Classical Kurosawa and modern Japanese animation who split the gore everywhere in 19.
mhm. There are some Japanese culture inspired games. Uh, is there any other game that picked up those references? At least
Um,
that you know, of course.
yeah, I love play to Bushido, the old
Yeah, that's a very old one.
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I make many games with Bushido, and but system was complicated, and there are still the honor side, the good versus evil. I played several tables of Five Rings, Legend of Five Rings,
Mhm.
but not find not find my pleasure here. Not
Mhm.
enough.
So Bushido captures more like the spirit of what you were looking for.
Yeah. It was a bit fantasy, even it was not a lot fantasy here, but it was. There are several monsters, several classic adversaries, but yes, the system was rough.
Yeah, it's an old one, so at
Yeah,
that time
right there.
systems were still a little bit were in development. I don't think that there were new editions of Bushido, but
Don't think so.
yeah,
In France, we have just one version
Mhm.
and never other release.
yeah, I think that even in English, I don't think they release a new version of that. Um, so when did you start being interested in samurai movies and Japanese cinema and all that?
In the same time, I was interested by Lucio Fulci movie and Gialli and all their stuff came in the same time. 60, 70.
That's
When I
interesting.
was in the end of teenage.
Yeah, that's interesting because we have some similar tastes in cinema, but that's where it stops. I've probably watched just a couple of Kurosawa's movies, and I'm definitely not a fan. I like the concept, but I find it a little bit boring, basically. It's boring. Yeah, Seven Samurais is a great concept, but I like the American versions best. Uh, all the
Yeah.
versions, I like the versions, but I don't like the original.
Yojimbo and Sanjuro are uh, um, um, have some remakes too. Yeah, A
Yeah.
Fistful of Dollars
Yeah.
and the sequel. And the director didn't ask permission to Kurosawa. Even the director of Seven's Mercenaries wrote a letter, but not for few dollars and Fistful. It's funny, and we can make a parallel with Chinese kung fu movie and spaghetti western and Chanbara, because there are similar plots and there are similar I don't find the name. This exaggerating sense of violence.
Yeah.
Spaghetti kung fu, like Shang-Chi, very gory, and some Chanbara are really exaggerating and really violent.
Okay, so about the setting, let's talk a little bit more about that. So, can you give a general idea of what is the setting of Shambara?
Yeah, it's clearly fantasy, dark fantasy world based on the Sengoku period of real Japan, and the Sengoku was a period of chaos, yeah, of total madness, with no real leader and a real great war between shogun and lords who one became emperor. And with all islands of Japan, it was war and fire and disease and betrayal, and the Lord was killed and another replaced, and 5 years later another kill. It was really rich story, but really chaotic story. And for the setting, Sengoku is a reference because it's the most chaotic period of Japanese medieval story.
I can share the screen and show the book if you want to. It could maybe.
Yes, let's show a little bit.
It could help probably.
One of the things that I liked, I only read a little bit of the setting because I was also helping Miguel to see if there were some, well, not really typos, but more issues with the layouts. Yes, and one of the things that I noticed right away and that I liked is the way how you wrote this. At least for me, the prose or it feels like I'm reading a book about written by someone that is from Japan, written by someone that is Oriental, and I've read some bits of books about for martial arts that are like this inspiry of the philosophy, and it sounds a bit like that. It had that fluidity, and I liked it because it sounds like, yes, I think it matches the setting. So I think this turned out very well.
Thank you.
So there are some references here for movies: Seven Samurai, The 47 Ronin, Azumi, Blind Woman Curse.
Azumi is modern but very, very fun. Maybe you can try because it's not boring at all.
And a lot of other movies here.
A big list.
Yeah, Ran, the famous one. Yeah, Sanjuro. And Yojimbo, Satoshi Saga. Well, I know Satoshi. At least I've seen one of those movies. Uh, what's his name? That director and actor.
Oh, damn it.
Takashi Kitano?
Yeah, Kitano. Yes.
Takeshi Kitano?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Zatoichi is really good.
Yeah. Well, we are Kitano's fans. That's the Japanese movies for us is Kitano. Yes.
I can't wait his last.
Especially the ones that are not historical. At least, well, but it may be historical, but not ancient history.
It's Kitano, not really too serious.
Yeah,
but serious even.
Yeah. But that's the funny thing about it. So supposedly he's a comedian, but he doesn't look like a comedian. He has that look that is not really the look of a comedian. But yeah. It's not really serious, but not funny as well. Okay, so there's something here. Would you like me to show something in particular from this?
Yeah, because Japanese name was not easy to pronounce, so I was okay to make a little help to pronounce Japanese terms. Because what Chanbara means flesh we cut. Red Chanbara is obviously full of Japanese names. It can help to pronounce them. I think.
Okay, so the first chapter, the first important chapter here is character creation. Can you say what has changed from the usual Wretched things? Of course, the archetypes are different, obviously.
Yeah, there are 3 types of characters. You are the Bushi, all warriors characters. You have the religious one, monks, sorcerers, elementalists, ghost chaser, and you are the others, pirates, actors, chambellan, courtier, and you can have a table with many different sorts of social origins and beliefs, and they try to move on together. And some tables are really fun because the characters must hide their own personality and make actors until the script or the action of another player force him or her to reveal his real character. I have in my mind the player who play Zaro. Zaro is a forbidden god in all country, and but he has powerful magic, and it's a cult who terrify everybody based on despair and nothingness. And I have some tables with men who played monks who adore Zaro and must to keep secrets until he didn't have choice because it's really fun because with the setting with many lords who adore the gods of total evil or one good and two neutral, you can have a table full of surprise.
The characters have, for what I read and understand, they need to follow all the rules of the god that they, the kami that they adore and they serve, right?
So it's not mandatory, but because, for example, the elementalists are just worshipping fire, earth, etc., and despise the god. They are a sort with the warrior monks and the Yamabushi are sorts of religious terrorists because they didn't follow the eight gods. The eight gods and the warriors of mountains was warriors and especially ghost hunter. And the elementalist called Sohei, they can make many things with 5 elements, are totally opposed with the 8 Kami's principles. There are a time in the year when the power of gods decreased for some days, and they attacks the symbol of these gods with many men at this opportunity because they can. Because normally the temples are really good defense, and then they can't.
Okay, you introduced some differences in the way armor works as well.
Yeah.
It subtracts damage from the attack, and then there's some.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about that, you can, of course.
Yeah, there are 6 tiers of armor, and each one they took critical hit. The tier low. For example, you have navy battle armor, full samurai armor on you, called Yoroi. You protect 110 dice damage. You have malus agility of 6. You cannot play dodge, and you give to enemy defense agility or attack melee bonus of 4. And if you are in full samurai armor and you took a critical hit, you down to tier 5. And if you have a critical hit in tier 5, you down in tier 4, etc., until you're fully naked in tier 1.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the moral choices. Let's say this is basically the version of alignment here, scenes and virtues, and so this works a little bit like the usual. The scenes are the same.
So it's the same.
Yeah, this is the same. Okay. Origin in life, but it's just a small change. Not really
like we've been doing in all settings, right?
Yes,
It's adjusted.
adapted to things. But combat has some setting specific rules, which mostly are for group combat, like battlefield combat,
naval combat,
naval combat, siege,
and
right?
combat.
Sieges, yes.
Yeah, these are things that weren't. Yeah, you basically
I like
added.
that part. Yes, and you roll. Yes, for a siege, you just roll events. You can roll to see how
Yeah,
Also
and
quite
you can make a combo with the siege rules, and we talk about later the creation of your own clan, because your clan must be attacked or must be defended, and now you have a system to build and to rule your clan, and you have special events. And when the special events are coming, you can use all naval battle, or siege rules, because everything must be combo.
This part here obviously is specific to this setting.
Yeah, yeah. Qi or Shi in Chinese, it's interior energy. And in this game, basically, Qi is allow the character to trigger some nice stuff. You have a brutal attack, a speed attack, precision, accuracy attack, and when you burn a key point, you trigger the effect. But the key is opposite to the fate, who's coming later, and the fate is the balance to the key. And key is reserved to warriors. You have the list before of the of the characters who can the cast characters who can use key.
Okay, religion and magic is also very specific to this setting and different from what is usual in Wretched.
Yeah,
if you want to summarize this.
In your Wretched game, it's more ritual or complicated thing about magic, and in this game, it's not the same. We keep the range of spell 1 to 5, and the progression of the caster, but the magic is a little bit different because the effects are immediate.
Yeah, tells it's
even it exists exceptions.
Yeah, it's more like the usual magic. Ours is the different one, because rituals is a little bit our adaptation of real world magic.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to go into this because it would be a little bit difficult to explain. But
and there are some secrets in the part of the magic.
Yeah, we can talk about everything, of course. Yeah, this one is for the game master. So let's
talk about that one. Yes.
Let's skip this one. We can show on fast forward. No one can read it like this. Yeah, it's a big chapter.
Yes. But I try to work on different kind of magic, because the price who give magic from the 8 gods are not the same rules of elementalist or necromancer or Yamabushi. There are specific of each caste.
Okay, we have arrived to the setting chapter.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of history about this period, or well, not just this one, a little bit before. Some history.
As on Sengoku period for the period of the game, but before we have prehistory and Age of Steel, etc., and the great discoveries and the Great War and the great disasters, disease, plagues, earthquakes, etc. It's a short setting, but really specific to the history of the world, and can give many ideas for scripts playing at the actual period, because many things are happening in the ancient time and have consequences now.
Mhm.
So the setting that by default you would recommend to be the one chosen by the other players, right?
Yeah, the last one. Yeah.
Okay, so there's also some information about costumes and rituals and all that things, and
Geography.
yeah. So this is all. By the way, this information is about currencies and all that. This is real world or your world?
It's a simplification of real Japanese currencies because I can kept all of their coins because there are many. That's the selection. So I kept the poor to the richest. The richest is the koku. It's an unity based on the value of rice a family needs to took a year without complication. But it's not so simple because when you can calculate your currency in koku, maybe with the rice you have to some money. So I made all this thing more easy, and with the original life path, every style of path is linked with some many little big money.
Okay, this
The only one is not Japanese. It's the kin, because kin means gold in Japanese, and in this world, it's a part of the secrets of the world, and it's really, really rare. And after revisiting the two capitals, the capitals of great god called Byako, it's a sort of Buddhist god, a redeemer, a really good one, the only one. And when you visit the capital, you have clues how he can fight against the other evil gods. And we visit, of course, the capital of Shadow Shogun called Kenda, with many secrets here again. After we have a really, succinct description of what town ruled by what clan is affiliated of the good one or the evil one. And of course, every month, every year, it can change. You have secrets and legends linked of the main cities too.
This is a bestiary, basically,
Bestiary.
With different types of adversaries that the characters can find. Humans, but then creatures and supernatural creatures, because this is based on real world, but also based on legends and myths and all that. So there are also
yokai and outing ghosts are real.
Yeah, actually, there are more supernatural creatures than common ones.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a role-playing game after all. So these are the ones that are interesting for people, because they have powers and different abilities and all that, and people are people. and monsters are always more interesting adversaries. And these ones are all based on the Japanese stuff, not really. I think maybe Chinese as well. I don't know. Are there other mythologies here besides Japanese?
What creature?
Anyone? I was asking in general. Are all the creatures here from Japanese mythology, or there are other?
The majority is Japanese, but Phoenix you can find
Yeah.
in both Korean too, Asian world in general, and the shishi, the sacred tigers, are purely Chinese before it was imported in Japan. But in majority, there are Japanese yokai are all real Japanese yokai adapted for playing, and the ghosts Kwaidan or Yurei are I think all accepted of the Japanese culture. Just magical creatures are linked to the god, the 8 gods are invented for the game, and certain are really piece of shit to kill.
The last large chapter is scenarios, where you have some examples and plot hooks, stuff that can be used.
You have a full scenario and 20 plot hooks.
With some NPCs that you can use and events and all that, the usual thing. And then some battle maps, which are pretty good. These were created by AI, so it's not easy to do this. I know, I tried, and I guess it's probably easier to do this in fantasy than current world. But yeah, still.
Yeah, there are no scale, no information. We can exploit them when we want.
Yeah.
It was not a mistake. It was a will.
Yeah. Some optional rules in the end, and the character sheet, which is basically similar to the other ones, but not really. Not everything is similar. Some things were different here.
And the map. Nice.
This map, there will be a larger map, because you can't really check this out on PDF, but I will put a large version of this in separate as a PNG.
How many pages? 400 and something?
How many pages? 416 or 17. Yeah, it's a large one for a setting. Not just setting, there are more rules than most of the settings.
It's almost a complete
game. It could be a complete game. You would need basically 50 more pages, and this would be the complete game.
I have to plan to make a French release, and if it
in that case, if you do the French release, you would have to include the rules, because there's no core book. The core book is not. There's no French version, so it would have to be the whole book. So yeah.
With your permission.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Everybody has a permission for that. I don't mind. Wretched is not ours anymore. Okay, so now that, unless you want to say anything else about the setting, we could just talk a little bit about yourself and as a role player. Did we forget something about Chanbara?
Sorry?
Did we forget something about Chanbara that we would like to add?
Well, for me, it's okay for Chanbara. I think we must keep some island secrets inside.
Yeah, the secrets are to be kept in secret. Okay, so just a little bit of information about yourself. When did you start playing RPGs? If you remember that title.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. It was a German game called The Black Eye. And after Black Eye, it was GRTM. The first game who you can play on the Lord of the Rings worlds, but fully inspired by Advanced Dungeon and Dragon. And after Call of Cthulhu and many other, but the virus, it's 1985 or 6.
So you started with the Dark Eye? Was that that?
The Dark Eye, yeah, a German game.
Was that the first one? I didn't know that
the first
game
one.
was that. I didn't know that game was around since the 80s. I thought it was more recent than that.
It's really really old because after they have the interactive books, yeah.
Actually,
you have to go to the page number, etc.
I've only found about that game in video games. I didn't know. I didn't even know that it existed as a pen and paper role playing game. But well, I don't speak German, of course. So
yeah,
so it was.
I play in French in 1985 or 6.
Yeah, well, here in Portugal, we only had access to basically English role-playing games. Though some people, some older people, some boomers, basically, had played some French games. I can't remember the name of it, but one of those first games, which is French, I think. I can't remember the name of that one. There's
Inomine Satani? Inomine Satani?
I think it's older than that.
From Croc?
I'm thinking about something that is fantasy. A very old one.
Bloodlust?
I don't think that's the one. Well, anyway.
No.
You have awful memory, Miguel.
Yeah, so I can't remember, but I know there was some French game that some people played here, and obviously there was Casus Belli, the magazine.
Of course.
Yeah, many people read that. That was available on magazine stores, so there was and that was about a bunch of games at that time. I started in the late 80s, so at that time there were many games already. But yeah, here in Portugal it was never a big thing. I suppose in France it was a little bit different. You had more of and you had translations of many games.
We meet many translations in France. We saw the games are released in America or England, but we only a few and the most bankers are have an honor of translation here. It's really complicated to translate a little game because certainly because the editors don't sure of the availability of.
Yeah.
It's too much work, I guess, and the expense if you don't know, and also if it's going a big game, you know it's going to sell because no matter what, the market is always small.
Yeah, it's too risky, I think.
But there are also games that were just made in France and then translated to English. There are all originals that were also exported, right?
Yeah, there are some. Yeah.
Not
Inomine as translation. Malefice.
Those are popular
very
ones.
Good game.
Yeah.
Of translation too.
There was a time. I think there was some Septième Cercle. I think there were some games of them.
Yeah, there were his Cult. Yeah, Cult fourth edition was released by Seventh Circle.
Yeah, it was basically an original.
And they did an amazing job because they can translate almost all add-ons writing in English.
What about
By
right
the way,
now?
sorry.
Nowadays, what is popular in France and in terms of French role-playing games? Is there something that is popular right now? You
The
don't know.
same for other country.
Dungeons and Dragons.
And Call of Cthulhu.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Many Call of Cthulhu conventions and many release. But you are the inspiriting movie like Alien role-playing game. What very good sales in France.
Mhm.
But it's a muma kill of editors behind, so no surprise.
Mhm. So let's remember people that you have already wrote a couple of scenarios. And then now let's talk about that. That also you wrote Tears of Belphegor for Wretched Epoch, and you wrote Blood and
A fistful
A
of
Fistful of Blood and
blood
Sand,
and sand.
Blood and Sand, right? For Wretched Country. Um,
Yeah.
so that was about what, 1 year ago, maybe? A little bit more than that, I think. More or less. Yeah. Kind of.
The first one was Belphegor, and
Yeah.
the second was Western, West Western.
Yeah, that was the second.
Tears
Yeah.
was also almost 2 years ago, maybe, because I
Yeah,
remember we were
probably.
still
I
But
at
think 2
Draft
Belphegor.
years.
at that
Yeah,
time.
Yeah, Belphegor was a
yeah.
little bit more than that, yes.
It ran fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really don't remember that precisely. How did you find out about the Wretched Epoch?
We talked about before
I think.
the writing, and I love the setting of Wretched Epoch. So I want to make it clear a plot I have masterized, and it bursts with Tears of Belphegor.
I think it's always and I'll say probably Miguel can say that it's a compliment when there's someone that is French and doesn't
Yeah,
think
that
Wretched Epoch is awful.
Yeah,
No, it's a
it was
really,
mine.
really good searching work, and really, I don't know. I'm French, so I think I can judge a game wrote about, and for Wretched Epoch, the job you did with the historical research was amazing.
I think we can. The reason is because we used some references and it wasn't really. I didn't think, okay, let's research it right now and start researching. No, it's something that happened along the time and
You took a lot of time to do
yeah, but even
to
before
write that.
stuff that
Yes.
that I read before and fiction and comics and all that I knew already. So it wasn't really if someone decides right now, "Well, okay, I'm going to do this and I'll start researching right now." It's a little bit different. No? You don't have time to.
For example, I really don't know. Actually, we can make a game. I was talking about Dreyfus affair because it's complicated, and you could.
Yeah, well, we are doing something else about the Dreyfus affair.
Yes, we're doing a scenario inspired in the Dreyfus affair, but it's post Dreyfus affair.
There was lots of people interested in that. Even not really in Europe, in the US as well. So it's a subject that people love.
I think Oliver is still here.
Okay, so Belphegor, that I'm not sure if this is a reference to a TV show. I know there's a TV show from the 60s or 70s that something about Belphegor, and it's in the 19th century. But
Yeah, it was
I
it
couldn't
was a
watch
Blink.
that one.
It was a Blink. Yeah, of course I watched. It's
Yeah, I tried to watch it as well, but I couldn't because I couldn't find it anywhere. It's difficult to find that, I guess. Uh,
there no exist subtitles English or
I,
of your
I
language.
I didn't even find it in probably maybe in French, but I didn't find it translated.
It's hard. It's hard because there are
Yeah,
many,
it's an
many,
old
many,
one.
many talkings. There are few action frames, but it's a good, really good series.
I also tried to find Les Brigades de Tigre, and I couldn't also find it.
Yeah,
That's from the 70s, I guess. Not sure about that. 70s or 80s, maybe.
yeah. End of 60 or
Uh,
70. I
yeah,
don't remember.
yeah. It's difficult to find that stuff. If it's American, yeah, you can find it, but when it's not American, if you go into the 60s, it's hard to find stuff. Probably in French, but not in
Yeah, I guess we would need at least subtitles in even in French.
yeah, at least
And
in
even
French.
like that, it
Even
probably
yeah.
would be hard.
So we are supposed to know French, but that's just a little bit.
If you don't use it, you forget it.
Yeah, many years ago I could understand them. I could even read it, but right now
Well, I can read
Oh,
it,
great.
but reading and understanding, it's another thing.
it's
I can
completely
read in
different.
French, it doesn't mean I understand the word that
Yes,
is
yes.
there.
That's also I can read it perfectly, but I wouldn't understand it. I can read the words, but sometimes most of it's just ununderstandable. But well,
But yes, for the original ask, it was a link to the old TV show in white and black.
yeah. So that name Belphegor, is that invented for the TV show, or is it a creature, some kind of supernatural?
I'm not sure, but it seems a name linked to the old Assyrian or Babylonian deities. It's an original demon in hell, in Catholic hell, Christian hell.
And then you wrote a weird Western scenario for, I guess you can call it weird Western because it's not really. It has supernatural elements in it for Wretched Country.
Again.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
We haven't played that one yet.
we haven't, but we should
No.
do that
Yes,
for
because
the
I don't.
channel.
Yes, I don't read it because I don't try the scenarios. I avoid reading them because if we're going to play, then I know I'm gonna know
Yeah,
too much.
it's a long scenario or a short campaign when
Yeah.
you depends the points of view because there are many things to do and you have a timing too. So the characters are trapped by a timing, and there are issue of this timing, of course, and if they don't manage correctly their actions, their acts, the scenario must be ended really soon.
So that's not going to be for our group. It's probably going to
It's
be
a
end up with a one shot.
Joe will ruin it.
Joe will ruin it. Yes.
Everybody dies. He has a cunning plan. And then everybody dies.
Last week we were playing and we had something in a boat that was in a boat that and they decided we need to recover an artifact from the boat and they decided I'm going to burn the boat and we were like, what? Are you going to burn the boat?
Joe is that player that no one wants to have, but we like it because it's like
yeah,
it's wretched.
it's
It
funny.
destroys everything.
But I'm laughing because our faces that we were like, yeah, here he goes again. But we're like, okay, go and blow up the damn boat. I don't care.
Yeah, it's nice for people who don't really are into long campaigns. so you can.
Yeah, not shocking. It's like your characters playing a very important NPC and and make the mess on your IDs in mind. It happens. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
normal.
Yeah.
yeah. And for horror games and all that, it's it's common. It's the
Hmm.
kind of thing that should happen. Characters should die horrible deaths and all that,
Yes. And do stupid things.
and do stupid
Because
things.
if not, nothing happens.
That's what happens in horror movies. People do stupid things and then they die. Um, Now, do you have any plan for the future? Something that you would like to do?
I have planned, but it's not writing for now. I maybe I make a break, and because I have on writing of Chanbara since uh, a year and a half, I think,
Yep, I think it
nearly,
was. Yeah,
nearly.
yeah, yeah.
Because I'm a SNE, yeah, I'm writing in English. It's not my original language, and I'm really, really slow. But so it's finished. But the next step is a band called Océan Noir, and it's a funeral doom band, and I play some some keyboards and make growl and high voices. Musical plan for now.
We need to use that as a soundtrack.
We use it we used it
Yeah,
sometimes, didn't we?
yeah. There's something. If it was on Spotify, we could use it in Zoom, but
Uh,
it's not. So it's
okay, yeah,
yeah.
make it. You
Yeah.
need to do some video editing.
Uh,
We have just one single tune for now, and it's a demo version. But I can give you a link later.
yeah. Well, if it's when it's somewhere, we can just use it
Yes, we
as
can.
yeah, put it as a soundtrack. Um, Something else that you'd like to say about Wretched Chanbara? Yeah, people go by it, of course.
Yes, of course.
It's a fucking great name,
Yeah,
fucking great game, and it's rushed by the spirits, and but not at all. But if you read it, you don't lose if you need the wretched system and the wretched spirit. And I insist, the wretched spirit is really important. It's the reason I want to adapt the lore to this game, so it's matchable a lot.
We had some people asking us, when does it come out? When does it come out?
yeah. I
I
believe
cross fingers for you. I
uh,
cross
def
fingers for you.
definitely. I think there are some more people that should be interested in this because for some time people were asking about, are you going to do something involving Japan and samurais and all that? So, but people are always asking about when are you going to do something like this or that or that. So, but
In
this
Ancia,
kind of
you have
game,
a world inspired by
Mhm.
Asian culture. In Ancia, you have a part of the world ruled by Asian people.
Yes, and in space there is, but
hmm
it's
yeah,
not exactly what people. Yes, I think people were asking
yeah,
exactly
they
about
wanted really
something.
a setting that was more
I'm going to say this is the best
historical and
samurai
all.
game ever made. I
Thank
can
you.
say it. I'm not an expert on samurai games.
Yeah,
That's why I say I'm going to say it and just stick with it.
of course it is. This is the wretched samurai game, so it
Exactly.
must be the best one. And we know Olivier, so it's obviously it's the best one. Well, I can say that your two scenarios that you wrote are very good.
Hmm.
So um, I can't really judge this one in terms of historical accuracy or any of that because I don't know it. But I believe that you know how to write a horror scenario, so you probably know how to write a game as well and the setting. So I believe that
I
this is
loved horror gender, so I put horror in all I wrote.
yeah.
So yes, you have horror, you have some really dark, shitty thing in Red Chanbara.
That's like us. We can't do anything without putting
Yes, there's
some horror in it. Even if it's not supernatural, it has to be horror. So if it isn't dark, it's not interesting. And this one is also a dark game. And
yes, the world is very dark,
supernatural. Yeah,
even if it's
it's a very dark, realistic, but also dark. Okay, so we've
You
covered
can play
everything.
both. Like I said to Sylvia, if you don't want to play the dark fantasy setting, you just play historical setting. It's not a big deal. You can both. You
Which
can make
can
the both.
which can still be dark, but without
yes,
fantasy.
without the fantasy. So the boring people can still play the game.
Boring
Still dark,
sorry.
but
Yes,
no creature or something like.
But in this case, I think most people are interested in
I think so. People that play, most
Yeah.
people that play things in, they
even if
also want.
they want to play something that is, for example, the RPG Planet does is medieval authentic settings, but they have fantasy as well, and
They
they have
have
magic.
yes.
Yeah, they have magic. The difference is it's based on real magic, real world magic, and the monsters are based on monsters that people believe that they existed. So, and this is the same thing. This is medieval authentic, but for Japan. So it's basically the same thing. The principle is the same.
The legends came true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's it. So it's realistic and based on in the real world, but the difference is what people believed in, which didn't exist in the real world. At least we suppose it didn't. In this case, it does exist. So it's medieval authentic as well. Okay, so as I was saying, we covered everything, and now it's time to end. It's more than
Yes.
1 hour, so
Thank you for
Okay.
joining us, Oliver, and I hope that you don't get too much of a burnout by writing
yeah,
from writing this scenario, and then maybe in a year you feel energy enough to
yeah.
create something new.
I don't know if this is something that you could do, but there are people already asking about a more modern thing, but Asian at least. It's still like Hong Kong movies and action stuff.
You're
Yeah.
gonna have to do that one, Miguel. Don't
I
push
can't do
yourself.
that. I can't do that. That's not for me.
Thank you again to give me the opportunity to release the lore with your system, and I hope they can touch souls of people and they can corrupt them.
Okay, Olivier.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank
And
you. Bye.
thank you all for watching. Bye bye.